All right, it is time once again for another horror film review. And first I'll say this just before I get too far into it. I want to apologize because I normally post Monday and Friday. I guess I don't really have a set schedule necessarily, but I always try to do Monday and Friday. But I've been a little sick the past week, so I didn't really have the chance or really feel like uploading anything, or talking about anything. I just kind of laid around the house and didn't do much. So I apologize if anybody was expecting another video. That's what this one is for, and I'll try to kind of get back on that regular schedule. But like I said, I've just been kind of a little under the weather. I'm still not feeling 100%, but it is what it is. I've been to the doctor and everything for it, and I'm on antibiotics and things like that. So that's going on. $250 later from the doctor's office because when you don't have insurance, it sucks. But that's just me. That's a topic for another time. But another thing I'll say is I hope everyone likes my change of backdrop. These are just more NECA figures I had. I just figured I would kind of put them together. Just, change of scenery just to make it look a little bit different. But I'll probably redo it again, in some way, shape, or form eventually. But this is what we're going to go with right now. And on a final note, the reason we are going to talk about this movie today is this is a movie I've really been wanting to talk about for a long time. Even before I decided to make a channel, because it's a film that I really enjoy. Very spooky, creepy film. But the reason I'm doing it now is just because if you've heard, Tony Todd, sadly he passed away on November 6th of this year. Just a few days ago, honestly. About 5 days ago, he passed away, and I don't really know why. I haven't really looked into it. A lot of details weren't really released on it at the time. Whenever I found out a few days later. But I was really sad to hear about that. Tony Todd was such an excellent actor. He's played in so many films. He's been in Platoon. Night of the Living Dead. The Tom Savini remake of Night of the Living Dead. He was in that. The Crow. He's been in. What else was he in? In Wishmaster. He's been in all kinds of stuff. Final Destination, Hatchet. That's just a few that are coming to mind right now. But he's been in so many different films, and he's always great in every film he was in. So I was trying to decide which one to talk about, with him in it, and I figured what better film to discuss than one of his I guess more leading roles, and that is Candyman. So this film right here, I'll show you the DVD. This is just the basic kind of TriStar DVD special edition. I've had this for many, many, many years. It's got a few special features, not too much on it. But, like I said, I've had this for a long time. Probably one of the first DVDs I remember buying way back when. But this movie came out in 1992. It was directed by Bernard Rose, and he also wrote the screenplay. And this film is based on a story actually written by Clive Barker called The Forbidden. Now, I haven't read that story, so I'm not super familiar with it. But I am pretty familiar with Clive Barker's writing and his art and I'm a big Clive Barker fan. I should say Clive Barker is excellent. So like I said, I haven't read the story, but I'm sure it's pretty good. Just kind of judging by his past stuff. And of course, this movie stars Tony Todd as Candyman and Virginia Madsen as Helen. So this movie basically is about, it's about Helen, it's about Virginia Madsen's character, and she is a graduate student at a university, and she's basically researching urban legends, and she kind of comes across one, the urban legend of Candyman, which kind of surrounds this kind of project area known as Cabrini Green, and it's kind of, that's kind of where its focal point is at, and so she really starts kind of, like I said, getting more familiar with it, and she learns that there was a murder that was committed there recently, so she decides to kind of go and check this out and just talk to some people around there, and she finds out a lot of people kind of use Candyman, I guess, as a way to cope with some of the murders and some of the things that happen. They just blame it on Candyman, I guess because it's easier to blame the boogeyman rather than actually deal with the actual problem. in real life, which I understand. But she's of course really skeptical about this. She knows what's really going on, and she's just really trying to kind of get to the meat of the Candyman story, and the Candyman thing is basically it's that old kind of legend. Go to the mirror, close your eye or turn off the lights, close your eyes and say Candyman 5 times, and he'll appear in the mirror behind you, and then he'll kill you. So she ends up trying it, nothing happens, and again she's super skeptical. But and her friend, I believe Bernadette is the friend's name. They are working on a thesis, basically, like I said, about how they use the Candyman legend to kind of cope with these murders, and she actually ends up being attacked by someone who is using the sorry if that's a minor spoiler, but she ends up being attacked by someone using the Candyman moniker, and that kind of, I guess, proves in her mind that it's just something that people use to kind of cope with things, and so kind of some stuff goes on. They end up arresting the guy. Of course, you get that that great scene of them all in the lineup. Where they're like, say the line, and they're like, I hear you looking for Candyman, bitch. And so you kind of get that scene, which is really funny, I think. And basically, after little ways goes on, she learns a little bit more about the Candyman lore from a Candyman expert, and then Tony Todd, the Candyman, he ends up showing up and kind of, I guess, psychologically tormenting her, and it kind of just spirals from there to a really, really interesting conclusion that I absolutely did not see coming. And what I think is really cool about this movie is it is a lot more, it's not so much a slasher film, it's more of a psychological horror thing, whereas the Candyman is not necessarily a straight up slasher villain. He's kind of has sort of a tragic tale, behind him, and I just think it's cool that they kind of, what they did with this movie, it very much subverted my expectations when I went in to watch this, because of course when I was much younger and I finally sat down to see this, I expected it to just be a straight up kind of slasher film, and it is definitely not. It's very psychological based. A lot of kind of twists and turns happen in this movie. There's a lot of stuff. It really kind of reminded me in a way of The Hitcher, kind of, where Candyman is kind of there, and he's doing things, but of course he's kind of pinning it on Virginia Madsen's character, which I think is really interesting. She's always just kind of wrong place, wrong time, and I just think that that's really cool. It's one of those things where you see it and you're like, oh my god, this. You just get so frustrated, watching it, and you feel really bad for the character. And Tony Todd does an excellent job portraying Candyman. He's so spooky. He's just this kind of looming presence anytime he's on the screen, and and anytime he speaks, his voice just fills the area, with this thick voice of his, that really thick, deep voice that he's using in this. And of course, you get the scene with the bees. I really enjoy that. It's just really spooky. I really like the setting of this movie. It's setting in that old kind of apartment complex, that rundown kind of project apartment complex, and it's just kind of, it's all like I said, falling apart, and it's just a really great kind of area. For this kind of movie, I think it really fits the whole lore of, or not the lore, but the kind of just that kind of vibe really fits well with this character. Kind of how they work the urban legend in there, and I think it's really interesting. It kind of calls back to the kind of the Cropsy Maniac, kind of thing, or urban legend, I guess I should say. But it's a great movie. It's shot very well. I love all. It's got some really unique looking shots in this, and very interesting story as well. I cannot recommend it enough. I love kind of like I said, some of those twists and turns that we get in here. They definitely will take you by surprise if you haven't seen this before. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much. I don't want to give away the ending, even though I want to talk about it really bad. Just because and it's one of those that I didn't really see the ending coming whenever I first saw this, but it definitely was a great ending. And yeah, I mean I guess that's all I really have to say because I don't want to spoil it. Oh yeah, also I was going to say I like the music in this movie. It's really well done. Very much fits the tone of the movie very well. This movie did spawn, I guess you could say three. Yeah, three sequels. I'll say that. Because one of them, I have one of them right over here. I'll show that. But we get Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh, which came out in 1995, and then Candyman 3, Day of the Dead. Now I have one of them. I don't remember if it's Farewell to the Flesh or if it's Day of the Dead. I really don't remember off the top of my head. It's in storage somewhere. In all these boxes over here, but I have that one. The other one, whichever one it is, like I said, I think it's Farewell to the Flesh is the one that I have. I've seen it and I enjoyed it, but I have not seen the other one, whichever one I'm not referring to, or whichever one I don't have. Like I said, I just don't remember off the top of my head at this moment. And then, of course, it was followed by what I was expecting to be a remake, which is Jordan Peele's Candyman. This came out in 2021, but it's honestly it's actually a direct sequel to the first film. So I really like that. I'm glad that he didn't just do a straight up remake to the first film. Very good movie. Highly recommend you check this out. I enjoyed it very much. I honestly didn't think that I didn't think I was gonna like it near as much, but I did. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And we'll talk about that one day. Maybe I'll put that one in a remake and rewind, even though it's not. Like I said, even though it's not a remake, it's it's a legacy sequel, or whatever you call that nowadays. Excuse me. So I'll just kind of get into the rating after I've talked about that. Like I said, this is kind of a sad episode because we've lost one of the a really great actor. I love Tony Todd. He was such a great actor. I always loved seeing him just kind of pop up in things here and there. But I'm gonna rate this movie pretty high because I do enjoy it. And if you've never seen it before, I highly recommend you go check it out. Fresh. I'm sure most people have honestly seen seen this one. Before they saw this one. I don't know. That's just me. Most people currently. But I really like. I really like the original. It's so good. It's such a classic film. Like I said, I can't recommend it enough. And I'm gonna rate this movie. Let's see here. What are we gonna rate this movie? I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. Because it just is a really great film. Just a very, very good movie. Like I said, I cannot recommend it enough. It's a ton of fun. I really enjoy watching this one anytime I get the chance to sit down and throw it on. I absolutely will. Very spooky movie. It's great for this time of year, too, to me, just the kind of fall and winter time. But, of course, it's not, I threw it on as soon as I heard that Tony Todd passed away. I just, it made me want to watch it and kind of, just like whenever Paul Diano passed away, a few weeks ago, it made me kind of get back into a bit of a maiden phase. So I've just been kind of going through some of Tony Todd's films, or films that Tony Todd is in, I should say, and just kind of, I guess remembering him because he was a great actor and he was a very nice, wholesome guy, and he took all of his acting jobs very seriously, even if it was just a small bit part. I remember in Hatchet, in the first Hatchet, I know that he had just a really small part, but he took it, from what Adam Green said, he took it so seriously, and I really enjoy that. I like, he was very devoted to his work, and that's something about him that I think is very rare, among some actors. A lot of them, if they're doing a little bit part, I'm sure they don't really, learn as much about the character and the lore behind that character, or create a lore behind that character in the way that Tony Todd did. So, Tony Todd, you will be sorely missed here at the DVD Graveyard, but we're not done talking about Tony Todd. We will bring up, I will bring up a few other movies that he's been in the future. Just probably not going to do it right now. I just definitely wanted to do this one because I think, this is probably the one that most people remember him from. This one, like I said, not the Night of the Living Dead remake, that Tom Savini did. That one, he has a pretty prominent role in that film. Hatchet 2, he had a pretty prominent role in that one. Not so much the first one, like I said, he had a really small kind of part, but in the second one, his character was a lot more fleshed out, and he was just so much fun to watch. But like I said, can't recommend this enough. If you haven't seen it before, absolutely go check it out right now. What are you doing? I'm sure it's free to watch on Tubi. I'm sure I didn't look. I probably should have looked, but so don't quote me on that. But and then of course, check this one out. Check them all out. Like I said, I think they're all worth a watch. Except like I said, I haven't seen one of them, but the ones that I have seen, I do enjoy them. But anyway, that's going to do it for me today. Rest in peace, Tony Todd. You will be missed, like I said. And until next time, stay tuned for the next video, and goodbye.